Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to start talking about Python. Let's start working with a text here. So let's work with Python conditions or conditional statements and condition if statements. Okay, or conditional if statements. Okay, let's start. First of all, I want to here talk a little bit in a very specific way about indentation. So indentation usually in Python is very important, and it refers to the spaces at the very beginning of a code line. So this is one very important note here. And in other programming languages, the indentation in code is for readability, as I said earlier only, as I said in the previous video. The indentation in Python, on the other hand, of course, it is is very important and essential, in fact, and it might prompt a syntax error. So Python uses indentation to indicate a block of code, and Python supports the usual logical conditions from mathematics. So for example, logical conditions here for equal, let me add a list. So you can add the list with a star and some spaces. So for equals, you are going to use, for example, you want to say A is equal to B. So this is a conditional statement. It doesn't say that, it doesn't mean that A is equal to B, to the value of B, or A is assigned the value of B. On the other hand, it means that is, in case A is equal to the value of A is equal to the value of B. So it's conditional. Not equals, and this will be A is not equal to B. And of course, when we talk about less than, it is A is less than B. And when we're talking about less than or equal to, we're going to use A is less than or equal to B. And when we're talking about greater than, then we're talking about A is greater than B. And if these ones are not, and then when we're talking about a greater than or equal, then this means A is greater than or equal to B. We can use this code, and that's it. So please make sure that greater than or equal starts with the greater than, then the equal. And these conditions can be used in several different ways, and most commonly in if statements and in loops. All right, let's get started. So first of all, let me declare variable, for example, x and y, or a and b. So let's take a to be 33, for example, and let's take b to be equal to 200. And now let's say that I would like to write an if statement that tests if b is greater than a. So I'm going to write this if statement. The way that we write an if statement, basically, I could start writing the if statement here, but let me just say have some space here. If conditional statement that tests the condition of whether, or that tests the condition of A is greater than B, and executes a line of code if the condition is met, or if the condition is true. This is the language that we use. Okay, so let's start typing. If if when you type if, it should be in purple, as you can see here on the screen. So you say if B is greater than A, and before the end of this line, I used, and I still make mistakes and forget the colon. Usually we always in Python has a colon at the very end. So if A is greater than, if B is greater than A, we don't add curly brackets or start with a curly brackets like some other programming languages and so on. But in fact, we just type in a colon. So if B is greater than A, what are the possibilities of this statement? What's the output? The output is Boolean. It could be true and it could be false. So if B is greater than A, if this is true, if it's really true, then execute the following line of code. As you can see, when I hit enter, Python has given me an indentation. So this is because this is a block of code, considered a block of code to be executed if the condition is met. So I wanted to print B is greater than A. So this will not be printed if B is less than A. So for example, write the same condition again here, but instead of B greater than A, type it as A greater than B, and then execute the cell and see what happens. What happens is nothing gonna happen. Why? Because A was tested to be not greater than B. So A is not greater than B. So the result of this statement is false. So let me here, the evaluation, let's say the evaluation of this statement is true. Here, the evaluation, I'm sorry if the language is a little bit weird to you, but this is the language that we use. The evaluation of this statement is false. Okay, or let me be consistent. And here we go. So this is A is not greater than B. So what happens if you run this line of code? Nothing. The print statement, the print function will not be executed. All right, let's okay, let me now test another condition. I would like you to pause my video and test if, for example, number 5 is greater than 2, or if A is greater than, for example, B, and then print, for example, A is greater than B, and so on. So please try to here if A is less than B, I'm sorry. So say is A is less than B. So let's say that I would like you to test if this number is less than this number. Oh, no. You see, I'm putting random numbers here, so visually it's very difficult for you to see. So and then hit enter. Over here I didn't get any indentation, so I'm gonna use that tab key and then say print this might not be executed because the numbers are too big, and there is also a problem. There is no colon. This is why the indentation was not performed by Google Colab. Look now that I put the colon. I tell you, I always forget this colon. Now there is an indentation. You see that? Print A is less than B, or first number is less than the second. Let's see. Yes, indeed, the first number is less than the second. So if, for example, this is the number and this statement was evaluated as false, then nothing would happen and no printing, no results. Okay, let's now talk about the elif. the elif keyword. So I'm gonna add here a text cell. In this text cell, I'm gonna here type in, I'm gonna here type in the elif, okay, keyword, the elif, like else if. Okay, and let me just also here, how about I add also some line of text for you to understand what this is about. So the elif, actually I should have not put it in capital. It's not capital, and be careful. Python is case sensitive, so I'm gonna just put it in a small letter. The elif statement or keyword, guys, is kind of like Python's way of saying if the previous conditions were not true or were not met, then it try this condition. When do we usually use that? We use that when we have, for example, if this number is in between 0 and 10, the number belongs to the first quartile. If it's between the 11 and the 20, the number belongs to the second quartile of the data. A quartile or quantile? Quantile. Okay. So this is one of the ways. What is a quantile and all that? Okay. In particular, in marketing, guys, and maybe in economics as well. In general, the quantile is basically points in the distribution of the whatever data set or whatever data values of a variable, that you can find any quantile by sorting first the data or the sample. I usually like to sort the sample in descending order, especially if it's sales or profits of customers. So you want to find the 10 best customers. So the middle value of the sorted sample or the middle quantile will be 50th percentile. So it's a quantile or percentile. So now you understand what we mean. First of all, you sort the data in descending or ascending order. So, for example, we want to find the best 10% of customers, the second 10% of best customers, or 20% of best customers, and so on. So we sort the data in descending order, and then we find the sum. Then what happens is we divide each row, each element of the data by the sum. So basically, let's say the first row, the first element was $200 or $20,000 worth of revenue coming from customer 1, and the total is 1 million. So the corresponding percentage of this value, the 2,000 or 200, what did I say, is or 20,000 over 1 million. The next row, because it is sorted in descending order in my case, it will be 19,000. So it will be less than the $20,000 and so on. So all of these values will be divided by the sum. And then this will give you a percentage. And then you can just say all these values starting from the top up until 10%, they actually represent all the customers that are responsible for the top 10% of our revenue. Then so on for the 20% of the revenue and so on. So this is a very interesting technique that we use, for example, within marketing, and it is very popular. So let's imagine this kind of situation. In this situation, if you want to test if this element belongs to the first quantile or to the 10%, or it's 10 quantiles. So the first quantile or percentile is the 10th, then the 20th, then the 30th, 40th. You got the point. So now we say we want to test in between different intervals. So the elif, in this scenario, we use the elif keyword And with the elif keyword, this is the Python's way of, saying if the previous condition is not true. Did I write that? Yeah, I already said that. Okay, no need to waste our time. So A, let's say, is equal to 33 and B is equal to 200, let's say. Then we write the if statement. Try to take a look. So let's imagine that A is the element and B is the corresponding numerical threshold of the whatever percentile. Because I told you that every cell, for example, that holds a data point, 33 or 200, will be divided over the sum and the total, and then there is a corresponding percentage. But on the 10%, on the 20%, and so on, there's a corresponding cutoff value in digits. So let's imagine this is the element that I would like to test, and this is the threshold of the percentile. In any case, forget about it if you haven't understood what I'm talking about right now, because you're just very new to analytics and so on. Let me know via email. It's a very interesting, probably the beginning of the next class I will talk a little bit about percentiles, because really interesting concept. So if you are not familiar, or if you haven't understood what I just said now, let me know via email and I will explain it at the very beginning of class. So don't worry if you don't. Maybe the problem is I'm not showing you in an example. In any case, let's say that we are testing in general if B is greater than A. Then please print the following. Print that B is greater than A. All right, and then that's it. Now, if you type in elif over here, let's see what happens. And if this is equal to B, for example, then print A and B are equal. I want you to now think why this is a problem here. Why this is a problem. And why, if you run this code, you are going to get an error, syntax error. Okay, let me, you pause the video and think about it, and then now I will tell you why. Guys, if this condition is true, then print this. What I've written right now is the following. If this condition is true, print, execute these two lines. Did you see that? So if this condition is true, then execute these two lines. And this is not what we wanted. In fact, we want to, if this condition is true, execute this. Else, execute this. So now it should work, as you can see. So this is basically, if this condition is true, print this. So if it's not true, what to do? Go to the next block of code. If this condition is true, then A and B are equal. So let's see, this condition was actually true. B is greater than A, and so on. So this is just an interesting example. I would like now to move on to another concept, which is the else keyword. So let's start with the else keyword. With the else keyword catches anything which isn't caught by the preceding condition. So basically, let me just write this down so that you can keep it in your notes. So the else keyword here catches or captures anything that isn't caught by the preceding conditions. Okay, let's take a look. What does that mean? Again, let's take the previous example. I'm going to just copy that for convenience. Let's take a look here. So we have A is equal, again, 200. B is equal 33. We are testing if B is greater than A. Type or print A if B is greater than A. And then elif, if it is equal, then A and B are equal, or maybe I would write something like A is the threshold of this percentile, or whatever percentile. Now, if you want to type in else statement, again, you're going to start at the very beginning. And of course, the else keyword is, wait a minute, did I put it in capital or in small? Sokka. I always type the first letter, letter of the first word in the line as capital, but here I would like to type it as small. So else, and then you write in what you want to write. Oh, what happened? Is this supposed to be indented because this is an execution of whatever function based on the else? Well, as you may have noticed, every time we're using if or elif, that we end the condition with a colon. The same applies here. And then if you hit the enter key, you will be able to get the right indentation you are expecting. A is greater than B. Let's take a look and see which one. B is greater than A. So maybe we can type in here something like 2 instead. And now it's going to tell me A is greater than B, and so on. Okay? All right, now I would like to show you another example. Another example, for example, if A is greater than B. So the first condition, let's say, is not true. Then the elif condition also is not true. Then eventually the else condition will be executed. So let's do something together. Let's do something like 33 here. Then tested, A and B are equal. Then again, let's do here 50. The first condition is true, and then B is greater than A, and so on. So we've done all the conditions, tested for them, and it is working just fine. So the order is basically if, elif, and else. Okay? Now what happens? What happens if you have this code? Okay? And then I have something like that. And then I tell you, this is the code. What's wrong with it? It's a syntax error. Fix this code. So fixing this code entails the order. So if, elif, and then else. All right. So this is how fixing the code, what fixing the code means. All right. So now, guys, let's move on to and or. But let me just check how long this video is for so far. Where is the? Okay, I can't for some reason I can't see here. Here. Okay, it's 23 minutes. Maybe I should stop here, and I will see you in the next video where we're going to talk about and or and other interesting statements. I'll see you next video.